All right, welcome to Spark 2.0. Let's jump in and see what's improved. The big thing is it's a lot more dynamic. So the reason this was completely redesigned was because Spark hit a wall in how agents were able to manage or kind of intuitively manage the reports and lists sent to their clients. So what was happening was, especially for new users, is you would send a list, let's say 4 properties to your client, but your client adjusted their preferences. You need to remove 2 and add two new ones, right? It wasn't clear that when you found 2 new properties, that it was being merged with the list that you already sent. So it was very unclear that Spark was creating this one link for your client that always stayed updated as you were adjusting the list. And it was breaking a lot of things. It was confusing pretty much everybody. And I like it just there was no way to make it clean, so we just had to do a whole refresh. So that's where we are now. Um, the filters are pretty much kept the same. The neighborhood's still the same. I still recommend typing first versus like scrolling and searching in case it's just easier to catch neighborhoods that way. Just my preference. But price, beds, baths, unit size, that's all kept the same. So is the move-in date. The call out on the move-in date though is that if a unit is available now, that window for this calendar goes out 2 weeks. So if I say find me units from June like available June 20th to June 30th, it's not gonna it might pick up a few, but it's not going to pick up the units that are available now. So if you're doing for a quick move-in, just leave this blank because these dates are pretty much 100% accurate. So if you say June 8th to June 15th, it's going to pick up units only with those move-in dates. So just keep that in mind. Let's clear that out. Amenities had a big improvement. Last time we just had the top 10. Now we have everything. So anything that's in Spark is on this list. Which is helpful, but I mean, cold plunge, there's not that many with the cold plunge, but it's still on here. So there's that. That we do have an exclusion now because I know a lot of people don't like valet trash. So if you just click this twice, it excludes valet trash. So that's cool. Um, Same thing with policies. I think you all know though, this is a kind of a tricky thing. The problem is when we call these properties, we'll do an audit every 2 or 3 months or so for a lot of these, but the problem is the agents on site, this isn't stuff that they just always know offhand. And especially in Austin, it's not really so much the case in Houston or San Antonio, but there's properties that really can't always legally answer yes or no to these questions. So that's a caveat here. This is more of a this you'll probably need to do due diligence on anyway, rather than relying strictly on this. Although the no breed restrictions, except up to 3 pets, that's more black and white, so that's a different story. These we kept the same, except now it's easier to search for different management companies, and then we also have the high-rise and townhome toggles up here. And then as it was before, you can search 2 ways. You can just start searching, add properties slash units, and then send to a client, or you can create a client, carry over their filters, and then send it. So let's just start with the quicker way first. We're gonna do Austin, either downtown or East Austin. The profile has the pretty much the same layout as Bora. Um, I do want to add a note on this though. So we pricing for the majority of properties is updated once or twice per day. Commissions are updated like within minutes after an e-blast is received, but we also do our own calls and emails for properties that don't send e-blasts. Specials are updated about every 3 days. So it's really granular. Like this is pulled more frequently. This is pulled every couple of days. This is pulled on e-blasts. Um, so that's kind of the note on that piece. So the other piece here is that if I'm trying to find a floor plan with more units. If you select the top heart up here, which is the same as what's that glitch? I gotta look. If I select this heart right here, this selects everything on that property. Oh, I need to update that pricing. If however I only select one unit, wait, hold on, let me back up. If I select a floor plan, it's going to select all the units underneath that floor plan. But if I want to select only the unit, then it's only going to send this unit to the client. Let's do a couple of those. All right, that's cool. So we've got our list built here, and we can either set a client or send to a new client. Let's do a new client. Just doing a dummy email. So what creates a client in Spark is the first name, email, and phone number. So if you have their name and email, actually let's say this. In cases where you need to send a report and they haven't given you their info, all you have to do is create a jumbled Gmail and a fake phone number. So a fake phone number just needs to be 555, so you're not sending a report to somebody. And then just start with 0001. So as long as these are unique, the like you could have two clients in Spark named John, obviously, right? But if the email and the phone are unique, it's going to be a new client. You can always change this later, but the 555 just ensures it doesn't go to a real person, and this can just be a jumbled email. It just has to be long and unique enough that another user in your Spark doesn't have the same email. That's what that means. So in this video, I'm just doing a dummy email. That's why I'm mentioning that. Now the search criteria, this was carried over from the filters. So if you were to have created a client first and set these preferences, there's a button that says search and add more properties, or search and find properties. It carries you to the properties page, and it carries over the preferences that you had in the clients tab. So I'm just calling that out here because this part was automatic. So you can have a title for the property report and a personal note for the property report. In a couple days, we'll have some templates down here, so you can just click and reuse them to save you some time. So we'll do create, client, and send. So your client gets a text and an email. And there was also an option to schedule this for later in case you were working late. All right, so check this out. Let's go to the clients tab and open up their profile. So this is the client's profile. To edit the fields, I click edit, and you can see all that here. These are the preferences. And then there's more details down here. And this is where you send the report. So this kind of gives you the high level overview. This link is their report. The caveat here is if you're working in Chrome or like a non-incognito tab and you open that report in this next tab, it's not going to work for you because it's thinking that you're trying to log into your agent account. So when you're previewing their report, open up in incognito. So we've got that. We've got the note here that you can customize, and then your contact info, right, for the agent. So this is what the client sees. This is their view. Now they can go in and see the units that you selected. They can heart it, do thumbs down. This won't work. And this goes immediately back to your view. So you'll see all this feedback. So you can delete these units. It takes off that unit. So when your client refreshes their report or just reopens it back up, that unit's gone. So this is insanely helpful, and that's what was that ease of back and forth and dynamics is what was missing from the old Spark. So this is beautiful. I'm really excited about this. Let's do a few more. I don't know the difference between the heart and the thumbs up. I think heart means you love it more, but that's beside the point. So we've got the feedback here. This is back in your agent view, and we can just delete these properties entirely. Bam. So it's clean. Another important note. Let's say, did I choose one where I only had one unit? Let's say that you sent this report at 2 p.m. Or let's say that I sent this at 5:38. And let's say that when I run pricing this afternoon at like 1 and this unit was leased, this is going to fall off of this report. We're currently working on showing how this says leased or no longer available. It's to be honest, it's just complicated. And I'm just trying to pick between two poisons. And I figured it's better for this to fall off if it's leased than for your client to have incorrect info. So at the moment, if this gets leased, it's going to fall off this report automatically. At the same time, if this unit updates to 2100, that also reflects automatically. You don't have to resend anything. So that's pretty cool. Schedule a tour. Let's see. I forgot what this does. I don't think we activated this yet. I'll come back to that. Okay. So that's how the reports work. The lead capture is pretty cool. So we had this in the old version as well, but it wasn't as robust. So this is what it looks like. You can add this on your social media, and let's just run through it. So it's got your info up here. Let's do Austin. We'll do downtown. Let's do Congress, South Central. 1 bed, 1 bath. And I think they can do latest move-in. That should work. Remember, if you're just doing a dummy phone number, just iterate upwards. So this was, before we used 0001, and I'm doing this. So that's the reason for this here. All right, that's submitted. The client gets the info either way in case they want to speed things up. But now you've got, how does that work? Oh, so this comes in as a lead, and you can filter these too. So if you want to just filter only the leads, just click that. So open this up. It's got their preferences. Now, if you want to just carry these over, just hit this, search matching properties. This gets carried over. You don't have to add anything. And these all pull up. So then you can just, if you're in a rush, just click these and just hit save and send. Where's this? Or you can schedule it. So again, if you're working late, this is an option. This was a cool feature that someone requested last month. So thank you for that. We'll do save and send. Bam. So 30 seconds, you can get the lead, carry over the filters, and send the properties. So let's take a look at the report. The same thing, right? That was quick. So that's how the leads work. Let's see what's next. Guest cards. This is probably, I would say next to how much easier it is to send reports now and edit reports is the guest cards. So this is really cool. Let me show you this. If we go back to the clients tab, open up a report, you've got 5 listed. So previously you had to do reports one by one or guest cards one by one. But now you can just do them all at a time. I think we limited at 15, which you shouldn't be doing more than 15 regardless, but that's neither here nor there. If we do guest cards 5, it sends that guest card to all these properties. So that's a huge improvement. I need to add like a preview of what that looks like. So that'll be here in a week or so. So, but it's the same email as before. It's just a little bit cleaner format. Emails tab. This is a bit more dynamic if you just want to write your own guest card / registration. So pretty straightforward. I don't think this needs any specific call outs. Let me think here. Yeah, so we've got templates. So if you wanted to just do a quick like, hey, here's John, don't call him and don't schedule a time. That's kind of what this template. So it has these brackets, and these brackets just get filled out once you send the email. Oh yeah, here it is. This is the preview of the email, right? That's cool, right? Let's see what's next. Invoices. It's more of a broker tool because I know everybody has their internal processes, but this exists if you need it. If not, no big deal. So that's kind of the high-level overview. The the smaller stuff that we have is this dashboard view, right? So we didn't have this before, but it's giving you a snapshot into the guest cards that you've sent. Um, if you've sent, so the way this works is if you send guest cards, but there's no action like on that client, it just kind of shows you that these clients aren't moving anywhere. So that's the purpose of this. Um, the dashboard is pretty self-explanatory, so I don't think I'm going to dig into this too much for this. But this is another view into your recently sent reports, or I think it's just like a different like. I think this is more intuitive for some people. Like you don't necessarily know that John was who you talked to 3 clients ago, but you know that it was the third report that you sent a couple of reports ago. So it's just a different way of opening this up. Now, the something that's really helping Spark is how much easier it is for agents to submit bugs or features. So this thing down here is really cool. So if you have a bug, what this will do is, let's say that you're on the like the properties tab and something isn't working, like this little glitch right here, for example. But let's say that you ran a search and like nothing came up. Um, like it's gonna save that screenshot of. Let me close out and refresh this. It's gonna save the screenshot and the filters when you click this button. So that way you don't have to explain to me that like you had the neighborhood selected, this filter selected. I see all of that on my end. So you don't have to explain it. Um, aside from the high level overview. But then what's really nice about that is this tracks these. So if you have this in here, I can now chat with you back and forth and let you know if it's done or have more questions. So I love this. I think this is going to make this makes it a lot easier for you guys to communicate with me. And then again, you just have the general question. You can request a feature. We add features all the time, so don't be shy in that aspect. I don't know the other. I think this is just a random. If it's not a bug question or a feature, but that's a new feature for the Get Help section. We do have now a dark theme. Shout out to my developer Nick. He's the one that designed all of this, so he's a baller. So thanks to him. And then we've got the light view as well. Now the other call out is if you're in Texas, you have more than one city, right? So what you can choose what city Spark defaults to when you log in. So if you always want Austin to show up, click that star, and this is your default city. You can also choose your default appearance. If you want default dark, you can choose that here. You can also customize these things. So if you always want to hide the map, click this. If you always want the table, for example, and then the search mode and the default. You can see your billing more easily in here as well. This is what's shown, right, when you send the guest cards, not guest cards. This is what's shown when you, actually, it is shown when you send guest cards, but not stuff like Facebook and Instagram. This is what's shown when you send a list to a client. Notifications, you can customize all these. So if you don't want reminders on, you can turn these off. If you don't want reminders, I think that's what I just said, you can turn these off. Security is a given. We do have an API key. It's not free. I need to add some details in here about how that works, but I'll make that's a separate video. Referrals, use this link to invite other agents and you get 7 days free, and it can track for you which referrals. So that's it for now. I think the last thing is if we ever push updates, excuse me, or you get new leads, basically anything that happens that you kind of need to be known about is kind of now shown in this notification bell for you. So I think that's the last thing I want to mention. I'll stop there. I know this was a huge change. I appreciate y'all being patient with me. Just continue to reach out if you have issues. Just submit it in here, and I'll see it right away. And again, my dev Nick is on here all the time, and he usually catches it before I do. So just be sure to utilize this ticket feature. I'll stop there. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.